His hand slid across my hip, under the water, as my husband stood just 5 feet away grilling hot dogs. The pool shimmered beneath the Georgia sun, but my body went ice cold. Then hot. Walter's eyes met mine, commanding, unblinking. That was the moment everything changed. That was the first time my father-in-law touched me like he owned me. Backhand index pointing right. Thank you so much to all my amazing subscribers. I appreciate you deeply for riding through these intense stories with me. To all new and returning viewers who are yet to subscribe, what are you waiting for? I truly cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button. It is the fuel and the fire that keeps this channel burning hot. Please do not forget to share your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear all of them. Let us dive in. My name is Lacey Bennett. I am 31 years old, and I live in Suburban, Georgia. I have been married to Aaron for 7 years. 7 quiet, careful, and mostly loveless years. He is the kind of man who forgets anniversaries but remembers to refill the gas in my car. The kind who never hits but somehow still makes you feel bruised. Emotionally starved. Like I was just the furniture in his carefully curated life. I met Aaron when I was 24 and fresh out of college. He was charming then, mild, soft-spoken, and always the first to pull out my chair. I mistook politeness for passion. I thought predictability meant security. But years later, predictability had become suffocating. We lived only a few miles from his father, Walter Bennett. Walter was in his 60s, tall, commanding, still carried the stern presence of a Navy officer. His wife, Aaron's mother, died 5 years ago from breast cancer. Ever since, Walter had been around more often. Sometimes too often. At first, I thought it was loneliness. Now, I know better. The pool party happened on the 4th of July. A small backyard thing. Aaron's coworkers came. Walter came early and brought ribs and too many beers. The women wore sundresses. I wore a red bikini underneath mine, something I had not worn in 2 years. I do not know why I wore it that day. Or maybe I do. Around 5 p.m., I slipped into the pool. It was too hot not to. The kids had gone inside for cupcakes. Aaron was manning the grill, laughing with some guys from work. I floated, half-drunk, eyes closed, when I felt the water shift beside me. It was Walter. Shirtless. Stronger than a man his age should be. He smiled and said nothing at first. Then his hands slid underwater. At first, I thought it was an accident. A bump. A brush. But then he did not move away. His palm gripped my waist beneath the surface. Firm. Confident. Dangerous. My mouth went dry. I tried to look normal. Aaron was talking about football just behind us. I whispered, "What are you doing?" Walter whispered back, "You looked cold." "I am warming you up." I should have slapped him. I should have screamed. I should have done something. But I froze. I felt my stomach flutter, shamefully. My thighs clenched underwater. He pulled away like nothing happened. I climbed out and wrapped my towel tight. But he had already seen too much. Later that night, I could not sleep. I kept replaying it. That moment. That touch. It made me sick. And worse, it made me want more. I went into the kitchen for water. Walter had stayed behind to help Aaron clean. They had just left, apparently. But as I turned the corner to the fridge, I jumped. He was still there. Leaning on the counter. In the dark. Smiling. "Could not sleep?" he asked. My hands trembled around the glass. "You should go," I whispered. He stepped closer. "You did not stop me." That hit harder than it should have. Because he was right. "You are my father-in-law." He chuckled, low and deep. "I am just a man, Lacey. A man who knows what you are starving for." Then he leaned in. I felt his breath on my neck. Just as his lips grazed my skin, I heard Aaron's voice from the hallway. Lace? You okay? Walter was already gone, like a ghost. In the days that followed, everything changed. Walter began texting me. Just small things. You looked beautiful today. Did you sleep last night? Still thinking about that bikini. I did not respond. But I did not block him either. Aaron did not notice a thing. He never really did. He was back to his screen, back to his spreadsheets. Sex between us had been dead for almost a year. I blamed myself for a long time. But now, I was beginning to feel something else. Resentment. Anger. And desire. Walter was dangerous. He did not ask permission. He took. And for a woman like me, ignored, dismissed, invisible, being seen like that? It made me feel alive again. Even if it was wrong. Even if it was the worst betrayal imaginable. That weekend, I made a decision I would never be able to undo. I invited Walter over for coffee. Aaron was at the gym. The kids were at their cousin's. It was just me in a silk robe and shaking hands, waiting by the door. He walked in. Shut the door behind him. Then locked it. He did not speak. He just kissed me, deep, hungry, like he had waited his whole life for that moment. I moaned into his mouth. And I let him touch me again. I remember standing in front of my closet for almost 30 minutes that evening. My fingers ran across fabrics I had not touched in years, low-cut blouses, backless dresses, tight-fitting skirts. Clothes that used to make me feel something. Clothes Aaron never noticed. I picked the red dress. It clung to my hips like a secret I was too tired to keep buried. It was reckless. It was loud. It was not me. But maybe it was who I wanted to be now. The occasion? A small dinner party for Aaron's promotion. Walter would be there. Of course. He always showed up for Aaron, even when Aaron barely showed up for me. As I stood in the mirror putting on lip gloss, my stomach twisted. I should have canceled the party. I should have worn something beige and respectable. I should have stayed away from the man who kissed me like he wanted to ruin me. But I did not. Walter walked in an hour later, and his eyes did not leave me. Not when he greeted Aaron. Not when he poured himself whiskey. Not when I bent over to pick up a fallen spoon. He sat across the table from me, and every time our eyes met, it was like someone lit a match between my thighs. The guests laughed and sipped wine. Aaron gave a speech about his journey at the company. I barely heard a word. Walter's foot brushed mine under the table. Once. Then again. And again. I looked up, and he was smiling. It was the kind of smile men give women in hotel rooms. Not at family dinners. After dessert, I started cleaning the kitchen. Aaron was outside with his friends, showing them his new grill. Everyone else had left. Only Walter stayed back, offering to help. The moment we were alone, I felt the air shift. He came up behind me as I rinsed a plate. His hands slid around my waist, and he pressed his body against mine. "You wore that dress for me, did you not?" he whispered. I did not answer. Because he already knew. I dropped the plate back in the sink and turned around. My heart was thudding so loud I could barely hear myself breathe. He kissed me again. This time harder. Like he was claiming something. Like he was daring me to stop him. But I did not. I wrapped my arms around his neck, and I kissed him back. We did not make it to the bedroom. We made it to the garage. The guests were gone. Aaron was still outside. The lights were off, and the air smelled like oil and old paint. I should have felt dirty. I should have felt terrified. Instead, I felt like I was finally alive. He lifted me onto the washing machine, pulling my red dress up around my hips. His mouth was on my neck, his hands on my thighs. My breath came in short gasps. "Walter," I started. "Say it again," he said. I whispered his name like a prayer. Then I let him take me. Quick. Hungry. Loud enough I had to cover my own mouth. Afterward, I sat there, shivering, trembling, still breathless. He helped me down gently and fixed my dress like a gentleman. Like he had not just defiled me 5 feet from my husband. "You are mine now," he said, brushing a finger along my jaw. I should have felt disgust. I felt claimed. But the twist came later that night. I was in bed, pretending to sleep when Aaron came in. He smelled like beer and grilled meat. He pulled off his shoes and crawled into bed beside me. Then he whispered, "You looked good tonight. Really good." I turned toward him, surprised. He kissed my neck. Touched my thigh. For the first time in months, Aaron wanted me. I closed my eyes and let him take me too. But all I could think about was Walter. And how my body was still sore from what he did to me in the garage. The next morning, a message waited on my phone. From Walter. "Red is my favorite color now. Meet me Thursday. Do not bring guilt." I stared at the message for 5 minutes straight. My hands were shaking. Because something inside me wanted to answer. Not with a word. But with a dress. Thursday came. And with it, a decision I was not ready to face. I dropped the kids off at school and told Aaron I was going to the grocery store. Instead, I drove to Walter's lake house. It was about 30 minutes away, tucked behind some pine trees and hidden like a dirty secret. When I stepped inside, he was already waiting by the window, a drink in his hand, his eyes full of fire and trouble. I did not say a word. Neither did he. He walked over, took my purse from my shoulder, placed it on the table, then wrapped his arms around me like he had been aching to do it for years. His kiss this time was slower, more desperate, more dangerous. I let it happen again. Right there, in the middle of the room, with sunlight pouring in and my morals dissolving one piece of clothing at a time. Afterward, I lay there on the couch, staring at the ceiling. My body was still humming. My heart? Torn between fantasy and horror. He sat beside me, caressing my thigh, whispering things that felt more forbidden than the act itself. "You know I love you, Lacey." I turned my head. "Do not say that." "But I do," he said again. "And I know you feel it too." I sat up and grabbed my dress, pulling it back over my shame. "You are Aaron's father." He shrugged. "And he does not deserve you." That sentence broke something inside me. Because part of me believed it. That evening, everything unraveled. Aaron came home earlier than usual. His face was tight, unreadable. He placed my phone down on the table. I had forgotten it at the lake house. Apparently, Walter had called it. Twice. Then again. And Aaron picked it up. He said nothing. Just stood there, eyes cold. "Where were you today?" he asked quietly. "Grocery store," I replied, my voice trembling. He nodded. "Funny. Because your phone was at my father's house. And when I answered it, he called you my sweet girl." My knees almost gave out. "Tell me it is not what I think it is," he whispered. I could not. Because it was worse. Aaron packed his bags that night. He said nothing as he left. No yelling. No crying. Just silence and a slammed door. I sat on the edge of our bed, feeling hollow. Like something precious had just been buried alive. Walter showed up the next morning. I told him to leave. But he did not. Instead, he walked in, set a cup of coffee in front of me, and said the words that made my stomach twist. "You are not my daughter-in-law anymore. You are mine. Let me take care of you. Let me love you for real." I slapped him. Hard. He touched his cheek and smiled. You will come around. I screamed at him to get out. And this time, he did. But deep inside me, something darker whispered he was right. A week later, I got a letter. From Aaron. Not a call. Not a visit. Just a folded piece of pain. He wrote that he would file for divorce. He said he hated me. He said he hated his father more. He said he would never forgive either of us. The last line? You killed more than our marriage. You killed my trust in family. I cried for 3 days. But not because I lost Aaron. I cried because the man who broke us was the man I could not stop thinking about. 1 month later, I found myself back at Walter's door. He opened it slowly. Quietly. He looked older, tired, but still burning with that same fire. I should hate you, I said. But you do not, he whispered. I nodded slowly. He opened the door wider. I stepped inside. That night, after we made love again, he whispered something into my ear that I would never forget. I waited my whole life to find a woman like you. And now, even if the world burns for it, I will die calling you my wife. And the twist? 2 years later, Walter and I got married in secret. My kids. They hate me. Aaron has not spoken to me since. His new wife blocked me on everything. People in our neighborhood still whisper. But Walter? He worships me. Loves me in ways Aaron never could. And sometimes, when I lay my head on his chest, I wonder if losing everything was the price I had to pay. To finally be wanted. Even if it meant becoming the villain in my own story.